In this video, I'm going to go over the last couple of problems in the notes. And we already know how to do everything. There's nothing new here. So I just want you to take this problem, turn it into a matrix, pop it in the calculator, get out the answer, and let's talk about what the answer means. So this is just a little practice of stuff you should already be able to do. So you'll notice I have actually already typed it into my calculator in matrix A. So I'm going to go ahead and just cheat. Go reduce echelon form of matrix A, and you'll see in there I have already just typed in the matrix of, I set it up just as 3, 3. Now notice it's X, Y, and Z, so 0, 9, 2, 3, 1, 6, 1, 0, negative 1, 1. So when I type that in, I do reduce echelon form of that, and we get that as our answer. Okay. So how do we interpret this? What does this mean? Well, so again, top row, this was X, Y, Z equal sign, right? There was our equal sign. So it's going to be X minus Z equals 0, Y plus Z equals 0, and 0 equals 1. So if you remember, right, this kind of looks like infinitely many solutions, but if you remember from the last video, no. Right here we have a false statement, so therefore this tells us that there are no solutions. Okay, so just want to remind you of the interesting cases. They turn out to be really important. The other, there we go, the other matrix, I just want to remind you of, if you can do a rule in algebra, you can do it in a matrix. So these fractions, usually people don't like them. So if you wanted to clear the fractions, could you just multiply by 4 on both sides of that equation and turn it into, let's see, this 4 would distribute, being making this into X minus 2Y plus 3Z equals 0. If it's legal in algebra, it's legal in a matrix. So if you had this in your matrix, instead of typing in 1/4, negative 1/2, 3/4, and so on, you could just type in 1, negative 2, 3, 0, and that's absolutely fine. Or you could do that multiplication in the matrix. You could have all the fractions here, and then you can multiply row 2 times 4 and clear out those fractions once again. So I just want to let you know that that's totally legal. The other thing I want to show you is if you do that in the calculator. Let's go to a matrix. I'm going to edit matrix B because I actually already typed it in here. And you'll see all these things are in, this row is already in decimals, right? 1/4 is 0.25. But when you're typing it in, you can literally just type in 1 divided by 4 or negative 1 divided by 2, and it will convert all these things into decimal form for you. Okay, so nothing new to learn here, just a little bit more practice, just how to manipulate the calculator. And the last thing I want to show you is if we do reduced echelon form of the matrix B that I just typed in there, you'll notice our answers are decimals. So just like other problems, if in the calculator, if you press math, before you press any other buttons, if you just press math and then arrow frac, hit enter, it will actually give you your answer in the matrices in fractions. So if you need to type something into math or into WebAssign, you actually, or whatever system you're using in the class, you can get it through the calculator that way. Okay, so these last two problems were just there to kind of show you a couple little interesting use cases. And let's actually write down this answer. This one's an interesting answer. So let's do this. It's 1, 0, 5/3, 2/3, 0, 1, negative 2/3, 1/3, and 0, 0, 0, 0. So just like the last problem, this one is this system, it does not have like x equals 4, right? We're going to have x equals 5, sorry, not equals, take that back, plus 5/3 z equals 2/3. And we're going to have y equals, not equals, I keep doing that, y minus 2/3 z equals 1/3. So if we wanted to write this problem in terms of z, It's perfect, super simple. Don't let fractions scare you. Don't let horrible numbers scare you, because when we want to write this in terms of z, remember that means we keep z in our answer, and we are going to solve for everything else because we're going to substitute those things out. So if I'm solving this equation for x, if I'm solving this top equation for x, how hard is that? I just subtract over the 5/3 z, right? So that's going to be 2/3 minus 5/3 z. That's what I'm filling in for x. Right. For y, it's going to be y equals, I'm going to add over the 2/3 z. So it's just going to be 1/3 plus 2/3 z. That's what I'm substituting in for y. So therefore my final answer would be 2/3 minus 5/3 z, comma 1/3 plus 2/3 z, comma z. Right? So sometimes students freak out when they see a number like that in their calculator. They assume that they made a mistake, or they assume that this problem is really, really hard and they need to instantly ask for help. No, if you just kind of work through it, you see it's actually really simple math. The only thing that would make this problem hard is if it didn't ask for it in terms of z. What if it asked for it in terms of x? How are you going to handle that? Right? And if you've, again, hint from before, if you've noticed, z is on the right hand side, and that's what everything was in terms of. So before you ever get to this step, how could you alter this matrix? How could you alter the setup of the matrix so z is not on the right hand side? Hint, hint, hint. Okay, hopefully that's enough to get you through the problems. And of course, try to apply what I've said and ask for help when you need it.